Okay, so if we go to the second alternative, that this whole religion of Judaism in its current form, where we all keep the Shabbat the same way, we all put on tefillin the same way, we all agree on laws of kosher. In other words, within the context of a legal system in which these things are decided, but now we have with remarkable consistency a codified law. And of course, the disputes that took place in the Talmud were also within the context of properly understanding what God said at Mount Sinai. So, it is the exclusion of this second possibility that really forms the foundation of the Kuzari principle. And so here is basically what the alternatives are. There's basically three possible ways that someone can come to a group of people and say, this is your religion, or to give them a religion. We'll dismiss one for its absurdity, but just for logical reasons. Someone can come to a group of people and say, someone is going to come, God is going to speak to you on a mountain. He's going to say, I am the Lord your God. This is called the future version in comparative religion, and that does not really hold much water. Slightly superior to that is at some point the Jews never got the Torah on Mount Sinai, but nonetheless, several thousand years ago, someone or a group of people came and started teaching us that you were at Mount Sinai. God spoke to you. He said, Moshe, go up on the mountain. He said, I am the Lord your God. And he gave the whole Torah, and you received it. And that's what happened. Now, the obvious deficiency of that is that it's verifiable. We know that we never experienced that, so no one can tell us that. Now we go to the past version. The past version is the most popular one. It breaks into two. Someone comes and says, your ancestors heard God speak. He said, I'm the Lord your God, gave them the whole Torah. And it was passed down in an uninterrupted chain until it came to your parents, who then passed it to you. Again, it doesn't work because our parents didn't keep the Torah, and they certainly didn't teach us about it. So even the past version, in which the chain is uninterrupted, doesn't work either. So we come to the following third alternative, which is someone comes and says, your ancestors heard God speak. This is what they said, 5 books of Moses. Many years ago, there was some kind of a gap, disaster, war, natural disaster, immigration, whatever. And all this was forgotten by everybody. But now, thanks to me, I'm restoring it. And here you go. Here's your Torah. Now, why doesn't this work? This is a bit more subtle. Because, first of all, the new restoration of this religious tradition is attributable, is thanks to this group or individual, which means that he has, in a sense, become the founder of the religion. Now we know if we look through the Torah, there's Moses, Joshua, King David, and so on and so forth. We have records of the Talmud, Pirkei Avot, Shammai, Hillel, Ravina, Rav Ashi, Rabbi Yehuda Hanassi. All these people, of course, adhere to the version that the Torah was given to the Jewish people at Mount Sinai. We have no record of an individual who told us, a people who had forgotten about their tradition entirely, that this once happened and he is restoring it. And so this individual or group is an unknown, and that is very, very implausible. The other problem is he needs to sell them that the text and the tradition that is being given to them by him is uninterrupted, because, in fact, when we read the Pentateuch, that is what we see, that it went from one generation to the next. And so too with the prophets in the book of Kings and the book of Judges. And so if he tells them that there was a huge interruption, in the actual tradition that they will receive from them, they will see that this is not the case, and that there's an inconsistency here. And this, in short, is really the Kuzari principle, which puts the event of Mount Sinai on the same historical footing and likelihood as any other historical event. There's always, the chance can always happen, but as much as we know that other things happened, so as Jews, we look at it the same way. It's not about making miracles. Maimonides writes in the Hilchot Yesodei HaTorah, the foundations of the Torah, chapter 8, the first halacha, that our belief in the Torah is not because of Moses, it's not because of any miracles or wonders, it's because we were there. It's not a second-hand testimony, it is a testimony that we ourselves are first-hand participants in, albeit through the passage of generations from our parents. So that is about the historicity of the Sinai revelation. And with this, we can understand a very interesting thing. There are laws in the Torah. The Torah says if a person can take a shavua, that means an oath, swears to do something. Sometimes if you swear to information, I swear that this and this happened. But very often we also swear that we're going to do something or that we're not going to do something. People try to give strength to the resolutions by turning it into an oath, into a swearing. And the question arises in the Talmud, what if a person swears to fulfill a mitzvah of the Torah? I swear that I'm going to start putting on tefillin every day. And what happens if a person swears that he's going to neglect a mitzvah from the Torah? I swear I'm never going to keep Shabbat. What happens if that person does keep Shabbat? Of course he should do it, but maybe he violated his oath. What if someone says they will keep Shabbat and don't do it? Keeping Shabbat is great, but maybe in addition to not keeping Shabbat, is it possible that that person also violated an oath? So Talmud explains to us there is no oath, there is no shavua. Any shavua or attempt to swear to either keep or neglect the mitzvah of the Torah is non-existent, because our commitment to keep the commandments and the prohibition to violate them is already part of an oath that we are subject to. The expression in Hebrew is mushpat v'yomed nehar Sinai, that we are already in a long-standing previous oath, shavua, from Mount Sinai when God gave us the Torah. There's a number of explanations. We know the Torah was given to us. Why was it an oath? Well, we know that on the day that Moses died, he renewed the covenant, and this was done with an oath, and it was the covenant of Sinai. But many commentaries explain that the experience of Sinai itself was an oath. They said, Naseh v'nishma, we will do it, we will listen. So there was a response on the Jewish people's part. They committed themselves to it in the way of an oath. Now here we have two questions, however. One question is, one we answered already, where do we see that the giving of the Torah, in addition to its beautiful gift, and certainly a covenant, was done in the form of an oath? And this we answered, that the Jewish people said the words Na'aseh v'nishma. We hear about it in next week's Parsha. We will do this, we will listen to it. Others say that, as a Talmudic tradition says, that after each of the 10 commandments, the Jewish people answered, yes, we will do it, or no, we won't do it. And this answer also constitutes an oath. And the second question is going to be, if we look strictly at the perspective of keeping an oath, in that case, I take an oath that applies to me. But how is it passed along to my children? And I'm going to answer this question in the next segment.